And welcome back to the hot stage via the Hot Lab. Interesting article I want to get to on dirtfish.com about the WRC points system. And I think this is something we're going to be talking about for the whole year because it is controversial. It's kind of like Marmite. You either like it or you don't like it. What's going to be interesting to see come the end of the year, how many people dislike it over liking it. So let's get into this article from dirtfish.com talking about the WRC point system, and it's saying the lessons to be learned from Mexico. And it says drivers have incentive to push on every stage on the Rally of Nations thanks to its unique scoring system. This is dated, I think, well, at the time of recording, it's 2 o'clock on March the 6th, but there we go, in the morning. So it says here, as obviously head of content at Dirtfish, it's the gentleman's job, Alistair Lindsay, to look at every channel that they distribute. And believe it or not, they're saying they see your comments, which is fantastic. And they listen to them. And with all that time accrued on the digital platforms, he says, I'm usually pretty solid at predicting what the post-event World Rally Championship chatter is likely to be. And we're talking about points. And in relation to Sweden, there was plenty to talk about. Ottanek and Kalle Rovanperä crashing out on the same stage, as we know, was hugely unexpected. What a stage that was. And completely changed this whole dynamic of the rally with Katsuta blowing his best chance ever to score that maiden WRC win. I had my head in my hands. I think at least half, if not more, of everyone watching that rally were having their fingers crossed for him. But it ended up being Esa-Pekka Lappi ending up winning after what was a massively long wait, scoring that second career. But it says, but no, none of that dominated the post-race event zeitgeist. It was all about the points. And it says Elvin Evans had put 5 points on the board more. Yes, 5 points on the board more than the rally winner, Esa-Pekka Lappi. That's not right, is it? I mean, you take it back to, for example, to motor racing. And if you finish first, you're there on the roster on the podium, spraying your champagne. But the guy in second has more points than you. I mean, that would be ridiculous, isn't it? But then you can make an argument. That's what's happening in rally, potentially. And he said, I was shocked by the reaction, not because of an unexpected amount of positive or negativity. I was surprised by how much debate there was about who'd actually won the rally in the first place. Was it the guy who was fastest from start to end, didn't make a mistake, or was it Evans who ended up scoring the most points? And the article says in their mind it was abundantly clear Esa-Pekka Lappi won Rally Sweden. I think, yes, he did. He stood on the top step of the podium, essentially. Yeah, his car was there on that step. Everyone was celebrating that victory. But it said the amount of people who believe the new point system changed the way rally winners were calculated was cause for a concern. Now, he's saying he's not one for knee-jerk reactions. I like a good dossier, a thoroughly researched paper, plenty of time to analyse. I'm not going to advocate for the new system to disappear overnight, not implement a replacement on a whim. But they're saying the current system of having a Friday to Saturday points and a separate Sunday system where carrying over a lead from Saturday into Sunday is no longer rewarded at all. I mean, you can make an argument for there's 2 different rallies rather than just the one. You've got the Friday Saturday event, and then you have the Sunday event. And it says they're suggesting it needs further work. If you have the brain space available to think through it, it makes sense. But most of us don't. We're preoccupied by a million things. We need to look at it with a single glance and get it immediately. And they're saying there's an element of last month Rally of Nations scoring system that may have the answer. They're saying simplicity is necessary, and the scoring system from the Rally of Nations, the event known as Rally Mexico, then was, as we know, part of that WRC. It's not that simple, but don't be alarmed. Being knee-jerk at your first glance of its system will only make you miss the lesson that could be learned. So they're saying there's 2 elements to this point scoring. The first bit is a coefficient that balances performance across multiple classes of car, with Rally 5 cars given more beneficial performance factor than Rally 2, for example. They're saying that's not the bit that we're interested in here. It's what they do after the balancing is factored in. Stage points are awarded and then used to contribute to an overall rally total. Now, for the Rally of Nations, the stage points of 2 drivers were used to make a combined team points total. Okay, that makes sense. And they're saying a few weeks ago they raised the point that a revised point system is as much about how it's packaged and the language involved rather than the concept of splitting points being awarded across multiple sources. He's saying 2 words can bring about the fix of removing complexity from the points discussion: sprint and endurance. Now they're saying what endurance should represent is clear, the old way of doing things, this traditional rally. You know, we all love, for example, those long endurance type stages. And it says whoever gets from the first stage on a weekday to the final stage on Sunday in the least amounts of time gets the most points. End of. They win the rally. Full stop. Exclamation mark. Completely agree. And they say a revised point system should do more than make Sunday super. All the days should be. All the days should be super. No need to be super. So we shouldn't have just one super day. All the days I imagine they're saying should count. Now it says stage points are nothing new. Junior WRC gives out 1 bonus point per stage. But I'm not talking about that here, he's saying. I'm talking about intermediate points. Score them in traditional 9-6, 4-3-2-1 system or something reasonably similar for each stage. They're saying count them all up at the finish on Sunday and hand out sprint points based on the final outcome of this intermediate classification. And they're saying, like in Sweden, the driver who kept their foot on the floor for most of the rally is likely to get most points from that element of the rally. And they might still outscore someone putting in a lappy-like drive in Sweden. But you know what? It won't matter. They're saying, because in this scenario, endurance will be what rallying always was. The driver who got from the start to the end fastest. And they're saying it's going to remain a core element of rally and the clear primary narrative. Sprint points will be looked at as a bonus. There'll be no confusion as to who's won because points were handed out for covering every single competitive mile fastest rather than a section of it. Over in Mexico last week, for example, drivers like Nils Solans, probably got the pronunciation wrong, so bear with me. They were in a Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 9, so had no real chance to set the fastest time outright. But run him in on a Sunday morning after the coefficient system had meant he'd scored maximum stage points twice, and it was the first thing he'd mentioned. In the overall standings, he had nothing to fight for, but he kept on pushing anyway, even without a Saturday night reset, such as the current WRC has. Now, based on this reaction to Sweden, Dirtfish is saying this topic isn't going away anytime soon, but there's no point rallying against it. Going back to the old ways isn't the answer either, he's saying. Like Rally of Nations, the unusual system to make countries equal in unequal machinery. The WRC has a near new system that's still rough around the edges, so long as our destination is a system, they're saying that remains almost as easy to understand as the old one, but addresses the flaws that modern day rallying has exposed in it, then we're going in the right direction. And I think that's a really fair point. And I think that's a really interesting article. What do you make of it? Comment below, let us know here at the Hot Lap, or the Hot Stage via the Hot Lap, and we can go there. So I just want to thank Dirtfish. I mean, what a really, really interesting article. Really, really topical, especially going into the Safari Rally at the end of the month. It'll be what I think could be really interesting. You imagine if these new point system proves so crucial that they change the outcome of the championship compared to the old point system. That's going to be some controversy, isn't it? Food for thought. Anyway, if you made it to the end, like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more rally content and motorsport content as well on this channel. Thank you very much, and we'll speak to you soon.